Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Annisa Putri, and today I will discuss about a word and its form, inflection. Before it, I will talk about what is inflection. So, inflection is a morphological change by means of which a word adapts to a grammatical function without changing its lexical meaning. So, by means of inflection, one change can happen to a word per context so that it adapts to a grammatical function appropriate for the context without changing the lexical meaning of the word. And then remember, some complex words have meanings that are so predictable that they do not have to be listed in a dictionary. Some words don't have to be because they are merely grammatically conditioned variants of a word that is more basic in some sense. And then take a look at this word. They are performs, performed, and perform. So read the sentence below. The first example is the pianist performs in the local hall every week. And the second example is Mary told us that this pianist performed in the local hall every week. And the third example is the performance last week was particularly impressive. So the note, all the words in both I have a suffix s or ed or eng, and the suffix s and ed are dependent on the grammatical context in a way that the suffix eng is not. For more example, a the magician creates different chicks every month. The S is acceptable in order not to violate a grammatical rule of English concerning agreement between a verb and its subject. The S suffix on the verb is obligatory when the subject is a singular noun phrase and forbidden when the subject is a plural noun phrase. And also the S suffix on the verb does not make any independent contribution to the meaning of the sentence. An example B is Tom told me that the magician created different tricks every month. And if a verb saying of thinking is in the past tense, then a verb in any sentence report as having been said or done is likely to be shifted backward in time, so to speak. Perform become performed become had performed, and will perform become will perform. And the note is the ed suffix on the verb does not make any independent contribution to the meaning of the sentence. And example C is the artist presented his new creation to the audience. And there is no grammatical factor that requires the presence of should. The not because creates and create are grammatically conditioned variant form of the verb create, or that is inflectional morphology. And creation is not a variant form of the verb, but rather a noun derived from it, or that is derivational morphology. So we're going to talk about inflectional morphology. Inflectional morphology, it is the area of morphology concerned with change in word shape, like association, that are determined, or potentially affect the grammatical context in which a word appears. And the next is lexeme. Lexeme, it is a word seen as an abstract grammatical entity represented concertedly by one or more different inflected word form according to the grammatical context. And then lexeme are conventionally represented in small capital while word form are in italics. And for example is the verb lexeme perform has four inflected word form. such as perform, performs, performing, and perform. And the next is regular and irregular inflection. So the first example is the word pianist list in your dictionary? And the second example is the word pianist list in your dictionary? So why a word from such as pianist does not have to be listed in dictionary? And for definition for first example is once we know an English word is a noun denoting a kind of being that can be counted, then we can be confident that it will have a plural noun. And the second definition for second example is we can be confident that the plural form of any countable noun will be formed by adding to the singular form the suffix s or the appropriate allomorph of the suffix. And then how about the word from niche, criteria, or phenomena? Are the lists in your dictionary? Does it follow that all word forms of a lexeme must always share the same of root morphemes? It's not always, because does it ever happen that the two word forms that we have grammatically like form of one log, so similar that they seem to have no root morpheme in common? So we're going to talk, for example, there is lexeme and word form. There is go, and the word form is go, goes, went, going, and gone. And then the next is form of nouns. Note, for any non-lexeme acts, there are just two grammatical words, singular of acts and plural of acts, contrasting in numbers. So there is example, the lexeme is a cat, and word form is cat and cats. So cat have one root of morpheme, and cats have two morpheme or as a root and the suffix s. For definition, for the example is not that s is the regular suffix for forming plurals. I can see I for formulae, a for phenomena, rent for children, or irregular suffix expressing plurality. There are also some countable nouns that express their plural with no suffix at all. For example, is teeth, man, and the ones whose plurals display not even a vowel change. The next form is a form of pronouns are undetermined. In morphology, we are concerned with the behavior of words which belong to open class as a noun, adjective, verb, and adverb. So by contrast, morphology does not make any register of a new pronoun or a new preposition lost class. And look at this. There are lexeme, singular form, and plural form. Lexeme, such as determined lexeme, is this, and the singular form is this, and the plural form is this. The second is determined lexeme is that, the singular form is that, and the plural form is those. The next is lexeme. The pronoun lexeme is he, and the word form is him, and the pronoun lexeme is we, and the word form is us. So the next is form of verb. And remember, some verb lexeme have at most 5 forms. Most verbs have only 4 forms as a regular verb. For example, is verb lexeme has a dig and sting. So the word form of dig is dig, digs, dug, digging, and duck. And then sting, as the word form is sting, stings, stung, stinging, and stung. The next is bend. The word form is bend, bends, bent, bending, and bent. And the last is feel. The word form is feel, feels, felt, felling, and felt. Some verbs have only one or two forms, other eight. And the verb lexeme has a can, must, may, be. And can, the word form is can or could. And must, the word form is must. May, the word form is may, might. And be, the word form is am, is, are, was, were, being, been, and be. So the last is form of adjective. Many English adjective exhibit three forms. They receive the suffix er and as when their basic form has one syllable or to provide that second syllable and if and vowel. So for example is Mary is tall, the positive of tall, and Mary is taller than Carol, and the comparative of tall, and Mary is the tallest girl in class, and the superlative of tall. Some adjective lexeme like this form. For this lexeme, there is a conventional circumlocution periphrastic form. And for example, is he is more and more curious, or the comparative of curious. This field is more fertile than that one. The comparative of fertile, and the last is more fertile fields of all are here, and the superlative of fertile. I think that's all for me about the material award and its form, inflection. And if I have many mistakes, I apologize. And wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.